So, ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something that cuts right to the core of your existence. Are you wasting your life? Are you squandering your potential, distracting yourself with meaningless pleasures, avoiding responsibility, and pretending that tomorrow will be different while you do nothing today? See, life is short, but it's also unbearably long if you live it wrong. You don't have endless time to get your act together. Every moment you spend in procrastination, in self-doubt, in the comfortable illusion that everything is fine, that's a moment stolen from the person you could be. And believe me, that person, the stronger, wiser, more competent version of yourself, is waiting for you to stop making excuses and step up. So let's break this down. Let's confront the hard truths. Because if you feel like you're wasting your life, the good news is you don't have to. But it will take effort, it will take discipline, and it will take the courage to face yourself honestly. Are you ready for that? Because that's where we begin. Taking responsibility for your life is one of the most difficult yet liberating things you can do. It's far easier to blame external circumstances, other people, or sheer bad luck for the way things are. But the moment you decide to take full responsibility, you stop being a victim of life and start becoming the author of it. Most people don't do this because responsibility is heavy. It means acknowledging that the reason you're not where you want to be isn't just because of external obstacles. It's also because of your own choices, your habits, your mindset, and the actions you either take or avoid. We live in a time where avoiding responsibility has become almost fashionable. People point fingers at society, at their upbringing, at the government, at their genetics, at anything and everything but themselves. And while all of those things can influence your situation, none of them completely determine your fate. If you allow yourself to believe that external forces have total control over your life, you give up the one thing that could actually change it, your own agency. The truth is, no matter how difficult your circumstances are, you still have choices. And those choices over time shape the trajectory of your life. Taking responsibility isn't just about acknowledging mistakes. It's about realizing that your daily habits, your level of discipline, the way you react to challenges, and even the thoughts you entertain all contribute to your reality. If you wake up every morning and immediately drown yourself in distractions, social media, television, meaningless conversations, you are making a choice. If you refuse to take care of your health, to build useful skills, to push yourself beyond your comfort zone, you are making a choice. And every choice either moves you forward or keeps you stuck. The most painful realization for many people is that they are not living up to their potential, not because they can't, but because they won't. They won't because taking responsibility means accepting the weight of your own existence. It means realizing that no one is coming to save you. No one is going to swoop in and magically fix everything. If you want a better life, you have to build it. If you want to be stronger, smarter, more capable, you have to work for it. There is no shortcut. There is no easy way out. And most people avoid this reality because it's hard to accept. One of the key signs that you're avoiding responsibility is constantly making excuses. Excuses come in many forms and they often sound reasonable. I'm too tired. Hey, don't have time. I wasn't given the same opportunities as others. It's just not the right moment. These excuses create the illusion that your inaction is justified. But if you look closely, you'll see that behind every excuse is a refusal to take control. The truth is, people who take responsibility don't waste time justifying why they can't do something. They find ways to do it. They stop focusing on what's outside their control and start focusing on what is. Another common trap is the victim mentality. This is the belief that life is happening to you rather than because of you. People with a victim mindset see themselves as powerless, as if they are merely being pushed around by fate. They often believe that their suffering is unique, that they have it worse than everyone else, and that there's nothing they can do about it. But the reality is, life is unfair to everyone in different ways. The question is not whether life is hard. The question is whether you're going to let that define you or whether you're going to rise above it. The most powerful shift happens when you stop seeing yourself as someone at the mercy of life and start seeing yourself as someone who creates their life. This doesn't mean you control everything, but it does mean you control your reactions, your mindset, and your daily actions. You may not be able to change your past, but you can absolutely change your future by taking responsibility for the present. A crucial aspect of responsibility is being honest with yourself. Many people lie to themselves about why they aren't where they want to be. They tell themselves they're doing their best when they know deep down they're not pushing themselves hard enough. They tell themselves they'll start tomorrow, next week, next year, but deep down they know they're just delaying what needs to be done. Taking responsibility means looking in the mirror and confronting the truth. It means admitting where you're falling short and committing to doing better, not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. It also means embracing failure as part of the process. People who refuse responsibility often fear failure so much that they never take risks. They stay in their comfort zone because they don't want to deal with the pain of falling short. But when you take responsibility, failure isn't something to fear. It's something to learn from. Every setback is feedback. Every mistake is an opportunity to grow. If you refuse to take responsibility, you'll see failure as proof that you should give up. But if you embrace responsibility, you'll see failure as proof that you're learning, adapting, and moving forward. Another difficult but necessary part of taking responsibility is letting go of resentment. Many people carry anger towards their past, towards parents who didn't raise them right, towards teachers who didn't believe in them, towards people who mistreated them. And while those experiences may have been unfair, holding on to resentment does nothing but keep you stuck. Blaming others may feel justified, but it doesn't change anything. Taking responsibility means letting go of the past and focusing on what you can do now. It also means setting standards for yourself. If you take responsibility seriously, you don't just do the bare minimum. You set higher expectations for yourself and hold yourself accountable. You don't just go through the motions. You push yourself to be better. You recognize that your life is the result of what you tolerate from yourself. If you tolerate laziness, procrastination, and mediocrity, that's what you'll get. But if you demand more from yourself, if you hold yourself to a higher standard, your life will change accordingly. Ultimately, responsibility isn't just about doing what's expected. It's about taking control of your life in a way that most people never do. It's about deciding that no matter what happens, you will be the one who determines where you go from here. Defining your purpose is not just about setting goals or chasing success. It is about aligning your life with something meaningful, something that makes the struggles worthwhile. Most people drift through life without a clear sense of direction. They wake up, go through the motions, react to whatever comes their way, and then wonder why they feel empty. Without purpose, life becomes a series of distractions, a constant attempt to escape discomfort rather than a pursuit of something worthwhile. When you do not have a defined purpose, you are vulnerable to anything that promises temporary relief, entertainment, meaningless pleasures, shallow relationships, and the avoidance of responsibility. You move from one thing to another, hoping to stumble upon meaning, but all you find is a growing sense of dissatisfaction. Purpose is not something you passively find. It is something you actively define. It requires deep introspection, an honest assessment of your strengths, values, and aspirations. Many people avoid this because it is uncomfortable. It forces them to confront the reality that they are not living up to their potential. It forces them to acknowledge that they are wasting time on things that do not matter. But ignoring this does not make the problem disappear. It only makes it worse. When you do not define your purpose, you are left at the mercy of the world's distractions and expectations. Society will try to dictate what should matter to you money, status, approval. But if you do not take the time to determine what truly resonates with you, you will end up chasing things that leave you feeling unfulfilled. Purpose is not always grand or dramatic. It does not necessarily mean changing the world or achieving fame. It can be as simple as committing to being the best version of yourself, to contributing something meaningful to those around you, to mastering a craft, to pursuing knowledge, or to building something of value. The scale of the purpose is not what matters. What matters is that it is deeply personal and compelling enough to keep you moving forward, even when life gets difficult. If your purpose is weak, if it is based on shallow desires, you will abandon it the moment adversity appears. True purpose withstands struggle because it is rooted in something deeper than momentary motivation. Many people struggle to define their purpose because they are waiting for certainty. They want a perfect, fully formed vision of their future before they take action. But purpose is not something you sit around and wait for. It is something you discover through movement. You will never figure out your purpose by thinking alone. You have to explore, take risks, and engage with the world. Purpose is refined through experience, through trial and error. The more you expose yourself to challenges, the more you learn about what truly matters to you. It is through action that you gain clarity, not the other way around. A major obstacle to defining purpose is fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of choosing the wrong path. Many people never commit to anything because they are afraid they will make the wrong choice, but the real mistake is not choosing at all. Indecision is its own form of failure. It keeps you stuck, prevents growth, and leads to a passive existence. If you are unsure about your purpose, choose something meaningful and pursue it with everything you have. Even if it is not the perfect path, it will teach you something valuable. It will move you forward rather than keeping you stagnant. Purpose also requires sacrifice. You cannot pursue something meaningful without giving up distractions, comfort, and easy pleasures. Many people want purpose, but they do not want to let go of their addictions to entertainment, to laziness, to the constant need for validation. But purpose demands focus. It demands that you structure your life around what truly matters, that you eliminate what does not contribute to your growth. The reason most people never find deep fulfillment is because they refuse to let go of the things that are holding them back. They want meaning, but they also want to indulge in meaningless things. They want success, but they also want comfort. Finding your purpose means making a choice, choosing what is essential and rejecting what is not. It also means embracing discomfort. Any meaningful pursuit will come with struggle, frustration, and failure. If you expect purpose to feel good all the time, you will abandon it the moment it becomes difficult. But discomfort is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. It is proof that you are challenging yourself, that you are stepping beyond the limits of who you were. Growth does not happen in ease. It happens when you push through resistance, when you refuse to give up despite setbacks. The people who build meaningful lives are not necessarily the most talented or the most privileged. They are the ones who keep going when others quit. Another important aspect of defining purpose is aligning your actions with your values. Many people feel lost not because they lack ambition, but because they are living in contradiction to what they truly believe in. They chase things that do not align with their core values, and as a result, they feel a deep sense of internal conflict. If your actions are not aligned with your deeper values, no amount of success will make you feel fulfilled. Defining your purpose requires knowing yourself, knowing what principles you stand for, what kind of person you want to become, and what impact you want to have on the world, even in small ways. Surrounding yourself with the right people also plays a crucial role in defining and sustaining purpose. If you are constantly around people who have no ambition, no discipline, and no vision for their lives, their influence will drag you down. It is easy to lower your standards when you are surrounded by mediocrity. But when you are around people who are committed to growth, who challenge themselves, who push forward despite difficulty, You are forced to elevate your own standards. Your environment shapes your mindset more than you realize. If you are serious about living with purpose, you need to be intentional about who you spend your time with. Taking time to reflect is also essential. Many people get caught up in the busyness of life without ever stopping to evaluate whether they are actually moving in the right direction. Purpose is not something you define once and forget about. It requires continuous refinement. As you grow, your understanding of what matters will deepen. Regular self-reflection ensures that you stay on the right path, that you do not drift into mindless routine, that you remain conscious of the bigger picture. Without reflection, it is easy to get lost in meaningless pursuits, to waste years on things that do not truly matter. Discipline is the foundation of achievement. Without it, even the most talented, intelligent, or ambitious individuals fail to make progress. The difference between those who reach their potential and those who do not is not luck or intelligence. It is the ability to consistently take action, even when motivation fades. Most people rely on fleeting inspiration to get things done. They wait until they feel ready, until they feel energized, until circumstances are perfect. But that is not how real progress is made. Discipline means doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. It means waking up and sticking to your commitments even on the days when you would rather do anything else. Many people struggle with discipline because they have built habits of avoiding discomfort. They have conditioned themselves to seek immediate pleasure and escape anything that requires effort. They choose entertainment over education, convenience over challenge, comfort over growth. But discipline is not about eliminating comfort entirely. It is about choosing what is meaningful over what is easy. It is about prioritizing long-term fulfillment over short-term gratification. It is about recognizing that every time you give in to laziness, every time you make an excuse, every time you delay action, you are reinforcing a habit of weakness. On the other hand, every time you push through resistance, every time you do what you said you would do, you strengthen the habit of self-mastery. One of the biggest misconceptions about discipline is that it requires extreme willpower. People assume that those who are disciplined simply have an endless supply of self-control. But discipline is not about willpower. It is about structure. If you rely on willpower alone, you will fail because willpower is limited. The real key to discipline is designing your environment and your habits in a way that makes success inevitable. This means removing distractions instead of trying to resist them. It means setting up routines that eliminate decision-making and make productive actions automatic. It means building systems that keep you accountable so that you do not have to rely on sheer force of will every single day. The most disciplined people are not those who fight temptation all day. They are the ones who structure their lives so that temptation does not even have a chance. If your phone is constantly within reach, if junk food is easily accessible, if your schedule is chaotic and unorganized, you are making discipline much harder than it needs to be. But if you create an environment that supports your goals, if you eliminate unnecessary distractions, if you build habits that make discipline effortless, you remove the need for constant willpower. Discipline is also about mastering your emotions. Most people are slaves to their feelings. If they do not feel like working, they do not work. If they feel tired, they give up. If something is difficult, they avoid it. But feelings are unreliable. They fluctuate, they are influenced by external circumstances, and they are often deceptive. If you allow your emotions to dictate your actions, you will never achieve anything significant. Discipline means acting based on commitment rather than emotion. It means doing the work even when you do not feel like it. It means showing up consistently regardless of your mood. Another key element of discipline is understanding the power of small, consistent actions. Many people think that discipline means making massive efforts every single day. They assume that success requires extreme, exhausting work, but real discipline is not about dramatic bursts of effort. It is about steady daily progress. It is about doing a little bit every day, no matter what. The person who exercises for 20 minutes every day will achieve more in the long run than the person who works out intensely for a week and then quits. The person who reads for 30 minutes a day will learn more than the person who crams knowledge sporadically. The person who writes a little bit every day will produce more than the person who waits for inspiration to strike. Many people fail to develop discipline because they focus too much on outcomes and not enough on the process. They set goals, but they do not establish habits. They dream about success, but they do not create systems that ensure progress. Discipline is not about focusing on the end result. It is about committing to the daily actions that lead to that result. If you focus on the process, the outcome takes care of itself. But if you focus only on the outcome, you will struggle with consistency because results take time and impatience leads to frustration and quitting. One of the most effective ways to build discipline is to start small and gradually increase intensity. Many people fail because they try to change everything at once. They go from doing nothing to setting extreme goals, and when they inevitably struggle, they give up. But discipline is built through small wins. If you struggle with waking up early, do not try to wake up 3 hours earlier overnight. Start with 15 minutes. If you struggle with exercise, do not start with an intense workout. Start with 5 minutes. The key is to build momentum. Success in anything is about stacking small, consistent victories. When you prove to yourself that you can follow through on even the smallest commitments, you build trust in yourself. That trust compounds over time, leading to stronger discipline. Accountability is another crucial factor in discipline. When you are the only one holding yourself accountable, it is easy to make excuses. It is easy to tell yourself that skipping one day does not matter. But when you involve others, whether through mentors, coaches, training partners, or public commitments, you create external pressure that makes discipline easier. The most successful people do not rely solely on their own willpower. They create systems of accountability that keep them on track. Another essential aspect of discipline is learning how to manage setbacks. Many people give up the moment they face failure. They miss one workout, break one habit, or experience one bad day, and they use it as an excuse to quit entirely. But real discipline is not about perfection. It is about persistence. Everyone fails. Everyone has bad days. The difference between those who succeed and those who do not is that disciplined people do not let one failure turn into a pattern. They do not let one missed day become a missed week. They get back on track immediately. The ability to recover quickly from setbacks is what separates those who make progress from those who stay stuck. Discipline is not something you are born with. It is something you build. It is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice. The more you practice discipline, the stronger it becomes. The more you push through discomfort, the more resilient you become. The more you choose responsibility over excuses, the more capable you become. The people who achieve the most in life are not necessarily the smartest, the most talented, or the luckiest. They are the ones who master the ability to control their actions, no matter how they feel. Comfort is seductive. It whispers to you that you have done enough, that you deserve to take it easy, that there is no need to push any further. It makes you feel safe, protected, and unchallenged. But comfort is also deceptive. It lulls you into complacency, dulls your ambition, and slowly erodes your potential. The pursuit of comfort is one of the main reasons people waste their lives. They seek ease over effort, pleasure over purpose, and routine over growth. They settle into predictable patterns, avoiding anything that disrupts their sense of security. And in doing so, they trade a meaningful life for an existence of passive consumption. The problem is that growth and comfort do not coexist. Every meaningful achievement, every deep sense of fulfillment, every true realization of potential comes from stepping outside of what is familiar and embracing challenge. When you remain in your comfort zone, you stagnate. You may feel safe, but you are not progressing. You may feel content, but you are not fulfilled. You may be avoiding struggle, but you are also avoiding the very experiences that shape you into something greater. A life spent avoiding discomfort is a life spent avoiding transformation. Many people convince themselves that they will step out of their comfort zones when they feel ready, when the timing is right, when they have more confidence. But that day never comes. Waiting for the perfect moment is just another way of clinging to comfort. Readiness does not precede action. It follows it. You do not become confident before you take risks. You become confident because you take them. You do not feel prepared before you face challenges. You become prepared by facing them. People who accomplish the most in life are not necessarily the most fearless or the most talented. They are the ones who are willing to act despite their doubts, despite their fears, despite their discomfort. Fear is one of the main reasons people stay in their comfort zones. They fear failure, rejection, uncertainty, embarrassment. But what they fail to realize is that avoiding discomfort does not eliminate fear. It only strengthens it. The more you avoid challenges, the more powerless you feel. The more you run from difficulty, the weaker you become. The people who seem the most fearless are not those who lack fear. They are those who have learned to face it repeatedly until it loses its grip on them. The only way to become comfortable with discomfort is to expose yourself to it again and again until it becomes familiar. Comfort also leads to a false sense of satisfaction. When you stay within the boundaries of what is easy, you may feel a temporary sense of contentment, but deep down there is an underlying restlessness. That restlessness is the part of you that knows you are capable of more. It is the part of you that recognizes that you are not challenging yourself, that you are not growing, that you are not stepping into your full potential. People who ignore this feeling often try to numb it with distractions. Social media, entertainment, mindless pleasures. But no amount of distraction can erase the deep dissatisfaction that comes from knowing you are not pushing yourself to be more. Another dangerous aspect of comfort is that it often disguises itself as success. You achieve a certain level of stability, and you convince yourself that you have made it. I'll do it. You reach a place where things are good enough, and you stop striving for more. But good enough is the enemy of greatness. The moment you start coasting, the moment you stop challenging yourself, the moment you start prioritizing ease over effort, you begin to decline. Growth is not something you achieve once and maintain effortlessly. It is something you must continuously pursue. If you are not actively pushing forward, you are slipping backward. Discomfort is not something to be avoided. It is something to be sought out. It is the price you pay for growth, the test you must endure to become stronger. If you are not experiencing discomfort regularly, it is a sign that you are not pushing hard enough, that you are not stretching beyond your current limits. The most successful people do not avoid discomfort. They deliberately put themselves in situations that force them to adapt, to learn, to improve. They embrace challenges not because they enjoy suffering, but because they understand that struggle is the path to mastery. People who train their minds to seek challenge rather than avoid it develop a completely different relationship with life. Instead of seeing difficulty as something to fear, they see it as an opportunity. Instead of avoiding failure, they welcome it as a teacher. Instead of seeking ease, they seek progress. This mindset shift is what separates those who achieve extraordinary things from those who remain stuck in mediocrity. It is not talent, intelligence, or luck that determines success. It is the willingness to endure discomfort for the sake of something greater. One of the most important habits you can develop is regularly doing things that make you uncomfortable. This does not mean recklessly throwing yourself into overwhelming situations, but it does mean deliberately stepping beyond what is familiar. It means saying yes to opportunities that scare you, taking on challenges that force you to grow, and pushing yourself even when you do not feel like it. Small acts of discomfort, repeated consistently, led to massive transformation over time. Every time you do something difficult, you expand your capacity for future challenges. The comfort zone is not a fixed space. It is an ever-expanding boundary. The more you push against it, the larger it becomes. What once seemed impossible eventually becomes effortless. The things that once terrified you become second nature. The situations that once overwhelmed you become manageable. Growth compounds over time, and the people who continuously challenge themselves are the ones who build unstoppable momentum. Many people believe that they must wait until they are strong enough to face discomfort, but the truth is that facing discomfort is what makes you strong. Strength is not something you are born with. It is something you develop through repeated exposure to difficulty. The mind, like the body, grows through resistance. If you lift light weights, your muscles do not grow. If you never challenge your mind, it remains weak. Strength, resilience, and confidence are built through struggle, through adversity, through stepping into discomfort again and again until it becomes a natural part of who you are. Time is the most valuable resource you have, yet it is also the one most easily wasted. Unlike money, which can be earned, invested, and regained, time only moves in one direction. Every second that passes is gone forever, never to be reclaimed. And yet most people live as if they have an endless supply of time, as if they can afford to waste it on meaningless distractions, as if they can delay their ambitions indefinitely. They tell themselves that they will start tomorrow, that they will take life seriously someday, that there is still plenty of time to figure things out. But the reality is that time is slipping away from you faster than you realize. Every day that you spend aimlessly drifting, every hour that you waste on trivialities, every moment that you let pass without purpose is a moment that you will never get back. The biggest mistake people make is assuming that they have more time than they actually do. They act as if they will live forever, as if opportunities will always be there waiting for them, as if the future will somehow magically work itself out. But life does not wait. The opportunities that exist today may not exist tomorrow. The dreams you put off for later may never become a reality. The people you take for granted may not always be around. The idea that you have time to waste is an illusion. Every moment matters, and the way you spend your time determines the trajectory of your entire life. One of the reasons people waste so much time is that they do not truly understand its value. They trade hours of their lives for mindless entertainment, for distractions that offer no real fulfillment, for activities that do not contribute to their growth. They scroll endlessly on their phones, consume content that does not make them better, engage in conversations that lead nowhere. They allow themselves to be pulled in every direction by external forces, reacting to whatever happens, rather than taking control of their own time. And then years pass and they look back with regret, wondering where all the time went, realizing too late that they could have done so much more. Another reason people waste time is that they do not have a clear sense of purpose. When you lack direction, it is easy to drift through life without urgency, without focus, without a sense of meaning. You wake up, go through the motions, and fill your days with whatever feels convenient. But when you have a clear vision for what you want to achieve, when you have goals that truly matter to you, when you understand what is at stake, your time becomes precious. You start making intentional choices about how you spend your days. You prioritize the things that move you forward and eliminate the things that hold you back. You stop wasting time on distractions and start investing it in your growth, in your relationships, in your ambitions. Discipline plays a crucial role in how you manage your time. Most people do not lack time. They lack the discipline to use it effectively. They allow procrastination to dictate their actions. They wait for motivation before they start working. They give in to short-term pleasure at the expense of long-term success. But time management is ultimately about self-control. It is about recognizing that your future is being shaped by the decisions you make today. It is about training yourself to do what needs to be done, even when you do not feel like it, because you understand that every wasted moment is a moment taken from your potential. One of the most powerful ways to reclaim your time is to become conscious of how you are spending it. Most people are not even aware of how much time they waste. They underestimate how many hours they lose to distractions, to procrastination, to meaningless activities. But when you start tracking your time, when you become brutally honest about where your hours are going, you begin to see the truth. You begin to realize just how much of your life is being squandered on things that do not matter. And once you see the truth, you can no longer ignore it. You are forced to make a choice. Continue living passively, or take control of your time and start using it with intention. Eliminating wasted time requires ruthless prioritization. It requires asking yourself every single day whether the things you are doing are truly contributing to the life you want to create. It requires cutting out the unnecessary, saying no to the things that do not align with your goals, and focusing only on what truly matters. It means being deliberate about who you spend your time with, what you give your attention to, and where you invest your energy. It means understanding that every time you say yes to something unimportant, you are saying no to something that could change your life. One of the harshest realities to accept is that time is running out. It is not a limitless resource. You do not have forever to become the person you want to be. You do not have an infinite number of chances to make something of your life. Every day that passes is one less day you have to pursue your dreams, to develop your skills, to create something meaningful. And while this may sound uncomfortable, it is also liberating. Because once you truly grasp the urgency of time, you stop wasting it. You stop making excuses. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You realize that now is the only time you have, and you use it to its fullest. People who understand the value of time operate differently. They do not let distractions control them. They do not engage in pointless activities. They do not wait for life to hand them opportunities. They create their own. They wake up with purpose. They move with urgency, and they treat every moment as if it matters, because they know that it does. They know that the difference between success and failure, between fulfillment and regret, between a life well lived and a life wasted, is how they choose to use their time. The people you surround yourself with have a profound impact on the course of your life. Human beings are social creatures, and whether we realize it or not, we absorb the habits, attitudes, and mindsets of those closest to us. If you spend your time around people who are ambitious, disciplined, and constantly striving to improve, you will naturally adopt those traits. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who are complacent, negative, and unmotivated, you will inevitably find yourself falling into the same patterns. Who you associate with is one of the strongest determining factors of your future success, and yet many people never take a hard look at the company they keep. They allow their social circles to be dictated by circumstance rather than intention. They spend time with people who drain their energy rather than elevate it. They tolerate negativity, mediocrity, and even toxicity simply because it is familiar. One of the greatest mistakes you can make is underestimating the power of influence. It is easy to believe that you are immune to the attitudes and behaviors of those around you, that you can rise above the negativity of others, that you can stay disciplined even when surrounded by laziness. But no one is entirely immune. If you spend enough time in an environment that does not challenge you to grow, that does not push you toward your highest potential, you will eventually adapt to it. This is why so many people fail to break out of destructive cycles, because they are constantly surrounded by people who reinforce those very cycles. If you want to change your life, one of the first things you must change is the people you allow into it. The wrong people will keep you stuck in patterns of self-sabotage. They will encourage you to stay the same, to avoid risk, to settle for a life that is beneath your potential. They will make excuses for their own failures and expect you to do the same. They will discourage ambition because it threatens their own complacency. They will reinforce limiting beliefs, convincing you that you are not capable of more, that success is out of reach, that effort is pointless. They will distract you with trivial things, pulling you into habits and conversations that do nothing to move you forward. And over time, without even realizing it, you will find yourself adopting their mindset, mirroring their behaviors, and becoming a version of yourself that is far less than what you are capable of being. The right people, on the other hand, will challenge you to grow. They will push you beyond your comfort zone, hold you to a higher standard, and inspire you to become the best version of yourself. They will not tolerate excuses, and they will not allow you to settle. They will challenge your thinking, expose you to new perspectives, and encourage you to aim higher. When you are surrounded by people who are driven, disciplined, and constantly evolving, you will find yourself naturally adopting those traits. You will begin to think bigger, act with more urgency, and pursue your goals with greater intensity. You will rise to the level of expectation set by those around you. Many people struggle to distance themselves from negative influences because of emotional attachment, social pressure, or fear of loneliness. They worry that cutting ties with certain people will make them seem arrogant, but protecting your future is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of responsibility. You are responsible for your own growth, your own mindset, your own success. If you allow people into your life who diminish your ambition, who drain your energy, who reinforce habits of mediocrity, you are actively sabotaging your own potential. You do not owe anyone your time, your attention, or your presence if they are not contributing to your growth. Loyalty should never come at the expense of your own progress. This does not mean that you must cut people out of your life with cruelty or resentment. It simply means being intentional about the amount of time and energy you invest in certain relationships. You can love and respect people from a distance while prioritizing your own development. And then you can choose to spend more time with those who inspire you and less time with those who hold you back. You can seek out new communities, mentors, and friendships that align with the person you want to become. Growth often requires letting go of what no longer serves you in order to make space for what does. If you want to elevate your life, you must consciously seek out people who challenge you, who force you to level up, who make you uncomfortable in the best way possible. You must surround yourself with individuals who are playing the game at a higher level than you, who have the discipline, mindset, and work ethic that you aspire to develop. Being in the presence of such people will expose you to new possibilities, raise your standards, and push you beyond the limitations you previously accepted. It will make you realize how much more you are capable of achieving, and it will make it nearly impossible to remain stagnant. One of the most important skills you can develop is the ability to recognize whether the people in your life are lifting you up or holding you back. This requires brutal honesty and self-awareness. Ask yourself, do the people around you encourage growth, or do they reinforce complacency? Do they inspire you to be better, or do they make excuses for mediocrity? Do they challenge your thinking, or do they keep you stuck in limiting beliefs? Do they celebrate your progress, or do they feel threatened by it? The answers to these questions will reveal whether your social environment is helping or hindering your success. Changing your social circle is not always easy, and it often requires stepping into discomfort. It may mean distancing yourself from old friendships, seeking out new communities, or putting yourself in environments where you feel like the least knowledgeable person in the room. But growth does not happen in comfort. The people you surround yourself with will either accelerate your progress or slow it down. They will either pull you forward or drag you backward. If you are serious about not wasting your life, then you must be serious about choosing your influences wisely.